Chapter 4. There was barely enough room for 4, much less 5 hefty women in the Mercury Marquis with the Uber symbol on the windshield that pulled up in front of the Intercontinental Hotel. The driver seemed irked that he had gotten this call, openly resenting the fact that tipping was supposedly included. The women fit 4 in the back, sitting on top of each other, with Rachel in the passenger side of the front. She sat turned entirely around, completely ignoring the driver, who was doing his best to be cordial. "You girls want the scenic route or the fastest one?" The driver tried to talk over the crowing and cackling women. "Excuse me, are you in a hurry, or do you want to take the scenic ride down Miami Beach?" Rachel turned around and laid into the unsuspecting driver. He was an older man, older than the women, and Rachel was indignant. "First of all, we are not your girls. Since they wouldn't take a reservation, I'm assuming we have time. Please go by way of the beach." She squirmed back around in the seat to try and see the rest of her friends around the headrest. "Take it easy on the guy, Rach," said Linda. "He didn't do anything wrong except ask a question." The driver muttered something under his breath and drove off, navigating the traffic around the downtown circle to access the highway out to Miami Beach, where he picked up A1A. A weeknight had traffic moving slowly but steadily. The car gradually made its way down to 5th Street and then to Washington Avenue. Soon the women were climbing out of the car as clumsily as they got in. Rachel turned around to the driver and said, "Hey, I'm sorry if we were rude. We do this thing where we get to see each other only once a year, and we have a lot of catching up to do." She paused and reached into her blouse, pulling a wad of bills from her bra. She peeled off 2 $20 bills and handed them to him, humbly adding, "I hope this makes up for it. Have a great evening." "Whoa, hey, no, I'm not supposed to accept tips." "Okay, so make believe it fell out of my purse on the front seat and you didn't notice until you were long gone. When you went back to the restaurant to return it, you couldn't find us, okay? Okay, night." Rachel slammed the door shut and strutted toward the door of Joe's. The driver shrugged. "Okay, if you say so. Thanks, I guess." He knew nobody could hear him, but he kept talking as he drove away. Beth met Rachel at the door. "No wonder they don't take reservations. The place is mobbed. We can go to the bar, but it'll be at least an hour and a half till we see a table." "Okay by me." Rachel had no problem when it came to waiting for a table if she knew it was going to be a great meal. This place is supposed to be legendary. We always said we'd come here when we were in South Florida, but we never got here. Rachel brushed by Beth. "To the bar." She pointed up in the air and followed her own order. Julie had followed Linda and Debbie into the bar to try to find either a table or an area at the bar they could secure. She decided to pick up the next round of drinks so the other women would feel comfortable that she wasn't horning in on their evening. She remembered all but one of the 5 drinks and had to be reminded what Rachel was having. "Okay, I got it." The waiter brought the drinks over to the high top around which the 5 women hovered. Julie paid him in cash with a substantial tip and picked up her drink. "Here's to new friends in old places." The rest of the girls repeated the toast in unison. "To new friends in old places," Rachel joined Debbie in adding, "and to old friends in new places." They were all startled by the fact that they said it together, so much so that the whooping and laughing started all over again. "Geez, everyone is looking at us." Julie was embarrassed. She inched her way to the corner and found herself hiding behind Debbie and Beth, who were standing together. "Yeah, so what?" Rachel was once again indignant. "Big fucking deal. Let 'em look. Just jealous because they're not having as much fun as we are." "You just don't know. You don't know that I am afraid I might be recognized. I have plenty of friends that come here all the time. This was a big mistake. Maybe I should beg off and just go take care of things. Shit, here comes that feeling again. Let me take a drink." I don't think they're looking at us anyway. Turn around inconspicuously." Rachel tried to whisper, but she wasn't very good at it. Standing by the bar, merely 3 feet away, were Gloria and Emilio Estevan. Although they were attempting to maintain a low profile, they were surrounded by a cadre of adoring fans. Linda, who was never impressed by stardom, in fact, never swooned over teen idols, ignored the whole thing and spoke up. "So, Julie, you're a Floridian. Besides the stone crabs, what should we be ordering here? I mean, if you don't mind, I'd like to get insider information, especially with doctors and restaurants." Well, let's see. Are we starting with appetizers? Julie spoke with authority, all the while trying to get a glance at the stars. Of course! Rachel wouldn't miss a course at a place like Joe's. Clearing her throat, Julie took the invisible podium. If you do soup, do the clam chowder, or if salad, the chopped salad is outrageous. If you want regular apps, the calamari or shrimp cocktail. They're both standard fares, but huge and good. When ordering the stone crabs, order the select. The mediums are okay, but the select are really the best for the money. Then we should order 3 sides to share. They're huge portions, so it should be enough. I'll recommend 4 or 5 and then let you fight it out. Julie stopped talking. Her new friends were staring at her, mesmerized by the information she was imparting. For the first time in forever, she felt important. She felt like her opinion counted, a far cry from how she had been feeling at home. Okay, hash browns, grilled tomatoes, spinach, grilled asparagus, Brussels sprouts, and if you want to do a second potato, I suggest the garlic Parisian potatoes. Julie was almost out of breath, but she was able to ask one more question. Are we staying for dessert and coffee? Even I know what you order for dessert at Joe's, said Rachel. We have to order the key lime pie, right? She spoke with confidence. That's correct. You win the prize. What's the prize? Rachel was curious. Julie announced, the dinner check. Julie was expecting the same response that she had been hearing each time one of the others told a joke. This time, however, there was no reaction. In fact, they seemed stoic. What did I say wrong? Nothing. We split the check, even Stephen, no matter what anyone orders. I hope you're on the same page, Linda offered up the explanation. We've had issues with other guests to our parties that were kind of picky and wanted to split checks to the penny, paying only for what they ate. We don't roll like that. Hope you're okay with that, she explained. Oh, no, sure, that's fine. I was just trying to make a joke. Julie was confused. One minute they're laughing hysterically, and the next they are as serious as shit. I'll just have to keep my mouth shut. What do they want from me anyway? I don't know you, you bitch. That's what my husband and I do too. We have sometimes had to stop socializing with people that are that cheap and penny pinching. Phew. Rachel seemed relieved. For a minute, I thought I misjudged you. I'm really glad because I really like you. She lifted her glass. To new friends in old places. Ditto, said Linda. Debbie just held up 2 fingers of her free hand and made a V sign while picking up her drink with the other. Beth just drank. When the conversation turned to plans for the next day, Julie's mind wandered back to her writings. She barely heard her company's chatter. I don't have any idea what tomorrow will bring. It's actually kind of nice not to have to worry about plans for tomorrow when I know there won't be one. I wonder how late we'll be getting back tonight. I know they refilled the honor bar this afternoon while I was at the pool, so if I don't get the nerve by what I put down here, I can always empty it out. After all, I did pay for 2 days and some extra for incidentals. I can't possibly drink that much. Drinks are really good here. Man, I can't believe how much I've already had. Julie's thoughts meandered back to the table, but she wasn't sure if it was because the waiter was placing a new round of drinks on the table or if somebody spoke to her. Acting casually, she reached for her empty and handed it to the server, and then slipped her hand around the fresh cocktail glass. Whose turn is it? Debbie cocked her head to the side. Were you in a different astral plane or something? We just had that whole conversation. I got this one. The confusion on her face remained, begging an answer. I was thinking about something, offered Julie. I'm sorry. I mean, thank you. Rachel piped up. Love means never having to say thank you. Oh, God. Beth made motions as if she were sticking her finger down her throat. Really, Rach? Are we doing that tonight? Again? Why not? It's always good for a few laughs, Rachel responded. Well, we better let Julie in on this. Beth wasn't a big fan of this game because she was never up to speed on current movies or songs, but she explained the game to Julie. Okay, we do this game when we go out to dinner, just to mess with the servers. Whenever we talk to the servers, this is after we're seated, of course, other than when we place our orders, everything we say has to be a messed up movie line or song lyric. Beth rolled her eyes and continued. Did you notice what Rachel said to you? It was a spoof on the line from Love Story. Yeah, I just thought she got it wrong. I was about to correct her, Julie whispered. Ah, replied Beth. You see, she would have gotten a point if you had corrected her. You must make it really obvious without laughing or being obnoxious to try and get the total strangers to correct you. When we get up to leave, whoever has the most points wins. I know the prize isn't the check, Julie pronounced. Debbie snickered. Bright one we have here, not so slow on the uptake. They all laughed, including Julie. So let me ask a question. Does making a toast to new friends in old places count? You know, like looking for love in all the wrong, you know the song? That would count, but only if you said it to the server, and it would only count for a point if he or she corrected you. Get it? Beth confirmed the example. Got it. Good. Julie laughed again. What is going on with me? This is not so bad. That heaviness on my chest isn't there right now. I can't remember the last time I didn't notice that. I don't even feel the flutter in my head. I'm concentrating on a conversation for a few minutes at a time. God, that feels good. So, you're the local yokel. What do you suggest we do tomorrow? We want to see some sights. Rachel directed her question solely to Julie. Wait, Linda interrupted. We're not the touristy type. Is that a word? I mean, we don't need to see SeaWorld and shit like that. I mean, we like historical stuff, but more off the beaten track, like what the locals might do. Okay, let me think. Julie really had to think. She was a resident for so long, she hadn't been out and about much in the tourism world. After her girls had left for college, she had been living a country club life until she got bored with that, and then she had become more of a recluse. People who don't do the tourist trap things here in South Florida, like the parrot jungle or the seaquarium, and don't have kids with them, usually gravitate toward places like Vizcaya Museum and gardens near Key Biscayne or the Murakami Gardens up in Boca Raton. There's also the Holocaust Memorial on Miami Beach and the Jewish Museum that's run by Florida International University. No Jewish stuff, please, Beth broke in suddenly. Just please no. No busman's holiday for me. Okay, no Jewish stuff. Julie was caught off guard, but shrugged and returned to her role as vacation guide. If you like outdoor stuff, you can visit the Everglades and learn all about Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. If you want to take a day trip, Key West is about 3.5 hours to the south. I wouldn't recommend the Middle Keys right now. They're still recovering from Hurricane Irma. Julie stopped to catch her breath, eyeing her new friends suspiciously. Did I say something wrong again? I broke my own rule. I was going to keep my mouth shut. What is it about these women? Is it because they're New Yorkers? Is it because they're snotty Jewish women? Is it because I'm a plain Jane? Why are they looking at me like that? For God's sakes, I have something stuck on my teeth? There's that flutter in my chest again. This time, it was Linda that volunteered the reassurance that Julie apparently needed. Not at all. We were thinking, at least I think we were thinking, okay, I'll just say it since nobody else has. Why don't you join us for the day tomorrow? Julie was taken aback. She leaned back against the wall behind her. Again, she felt the flutter in her chest. It's a weekday, so if I go, we can go either here in Miami or up to Boca or something. That way I won't likely be seen by anyone I know. And would anyone really take a second look with my hair this way? I could probably do that. Can I let you know in the morning? I mean, I may have assignments tomorrow. Shit, what am I doing? I can't tell them who I am and what the fuck kind of assignment. Shit, think fast. Sure, I guess, but we should decide what we're going to do tonight anyway. We may have to rent a car or order an Uber in advance. Linda was always the planner or the camp counselor. What else you got in ideas? Okay, well, if you want a little taste of the mixed culture in Miami, you can visit Little Havana. Go over to Calle Ocho and have lunch at Versailles Restaurant for some classic Cuban food. It's a landmark. All the politicians visit there when they're campaigning. Have you ever had a Cuban sandwich or a croqueta? I love Cuban food, Rachel announced. Rachel, you love every kind of food. Debbie elbowed her in the ribs. Rachel returned the elbow and gave Debbie a sarcastic sneer. Hey, I'm proud of my 50-something-year-old body. And by the way, I don't care what anyone else thinks. I'm happy with me, and that's all that matters. I've got nothing left to prove. In unison again. Amen. Man, these girls are of one mind. They answer together. They know what each other is thinking. They could probably order for each other. I have a question. Julie waited for a sign that she could ask it. Go ahead. You don't need our permission to speak, Rachel giggled. But if you did, you'd have to ask me first. Hey, who died and made you queen? Linda and Beth sang together. Ha! There's one, Julie exclaimed. Funny, that's my question. How long did you say you've known each other? I mean, you like finish each other's sentences. Sometimes you even answer each other's questions, two of you at the same time. It's almost eerie. I guess it's been about 45 years now, Debbie began. We were actually in two different elementary schools, none of us in the same classes. We didn't get to know each other until we went to a sleepaway camp together. Yeah, continued Linda. The camp was in Massachusetts in the Berkshire Mountains. We all started camp the same year in 1970. We were only 7 years old. Linda stopped, staring straight ahead. It seems like a lifetime ago, but it seems like yesterday, too, if that's possible. I feel that way too, Beth chimed in. It's not just the friendships that the four of us made and maintained all these years. The memories we made through all those summers are so vivid. And the camp, the way it was just so special and meaningful. The same stare descended over Beth's face as her voice trailed off. It's like it never leaves you. Even now, I can close my eyes, smell the lake, and feel the cool summer breezes. I can picture the campfire down by the lake, or feel the cramps in my calves from running up the hill to the mess hall because I was late for lunch. Even Rachel got lost in her thoughts. No matter how hard Julie was trying not to engage herself with these women, she could not help but get swept up by the conversation. Their descriptions of this place made it seem magical. Remember those little yew trees that were planted along the path up the hill? Debbie asked. Remember how we used to jump them on the way down for rest hour after lunch? Sure, Rachel snapped out of her trance. That was so much fun. I was heavy even then. There was that one about halfway down that was too tall for me to make it over. I tried and kept falling on my face. It wasn't until the third or fourth year there that I had lost enough pounds and gained enough inches. The problem was that over the same few years, the tree was growing too. Once again, the chuckling and snickering garnered the attention of everyone in the bar at Joe's. Hey, do you got a problem? Rachel asked a particularly tall and beautiful young blonde woman standing back to back with her. Rach, don't start anything. Linda was always the first to pull in the reins on Rachel, who didn't like to be admonished. What? We've every right to enjoy ourselves, too, Rachel snapped back. Well, let's not enjoy ourselves right out of here before we get a chance to have our stone crabs, okay? Linda softened. She knew if she pushed Rachel, it would only get worse. 2 years ago, on their getaway weekend to New Orleans, they got kicked out of Antoine's. To be fair, all four of them had had too much to drink and were all being way too boisterous. They had been doing their annual update, and it got overly emotional. I just don't want another Antoine's. You're right. Rachel reached up and tapped the woman on the shoulder. I'm sorry if we were disturbing you. We just hadn't seen each other in a very long time. We'll attempt to keep it down. The woman nodded and smiled. Rachel turned back and whispered, I don't think she understood a single thing I said. Julie nodded. She understood your smile, and that's it. That was enough. She craned her neck to see around Rachel. She looks European, probably doesn't understand a word of English. Anyway, after that first summer at camp, we found out that we all lived in close proximity to each other. Debbie picked up the story. Two of us were in the same elementary school, and two of us went to a different one. The following school year, I was in Rachel's class, and Linda and Beth were in the same class at their school. Linda took over. The next summer, we all four of us requested to be in the same bunk at camp, and the rest is history. We ended up in the same middle school, and then when our days as campers were over, we went back as junior counselors and then counselors all the way through college. Beth went on. We were each other's maids of honor or bridesmaids. We all bought homes in the same neighborhood at first and started out raising our kids together. Yep, until our husbands or our careers took us different places, we were together for almost 25 years. Rachel slowed down and glanced at the glasses on the table. The second round of drinks were all gone, so she raised her hand and when she got the attention of the server, motioned for him to bring another round. We've gone through everything life tossed our way together. Almost everything. The three other women nearly sang the two words in harmony. There was an uncomfortable silence following those two words, a silence that seemed to Julie to have a sense of foreboding. This was a feeling she knew. It was less foreign to her than the laughter. All four of the women sat silent and motionless, waiting for the next drink. This is weird, making me feel really uncomfortable. I'm gonna go to the LR and give them a minute without me. I feel like they all regret inviting me. I need to use the ladies' room before we get seated. I'll be right back. Julie twisted her way out of the corner. Man, this place is mobbed tonight. Hope I don't see anyone. Julie tilted her head down and used the direction that people's feet were pointing as a navigation tool to wend her way from the bar to the ladies' room. She knew the restaurant well. She and Morty made their annual sojourn down from Hollywood with a few friends every year in October or November. Joe's was only open in months that had an R in them. Morty had a friend who knew Roy, the maitre d', very well, and was always all full of himself because he always thought Roy was doing him this big favor. His buddies said if you slip Roy a 50, he'll take good care of you. Shit, Morty. Any maitre d' would take care of you if you give him $50. Jules, is that you? Julie stopped suddenly. She could feel her heart pulsating in her neck. Slowly, she turned her head to the right and saw a woman waving in her direction. She didn't recognize her, but then she had been to so many hospital and medical dinners. Jules, it's me, Evelyn. Julie looked directly at the woman and motioned her finger to her chest as if to ask, Me? The woman seemed to look past her. Just as Julie took a deep breath of relief, she felt a jarring shove from behind. Excuse me, ma'am. A tall yet frail man seemingly had tripped and tumbled into her, and she had broken his fall. Evelyn, it's been ages. I'm so sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to tumble into you. Julie was so relieved that it wasn't someone who recognized her. She was more congenial and kinder than she can ever remember being. Not at all, sir. Are you hurt? Can I help you? What the hell am I going to do to help this guy? No, I'm fine, thank you. Julie left it at that and slipped into the ladies' room, again with her head tilted down. Joe's had a lovely facility, she thought, but she wondered how long she should stay away from those ladies. It sure got antsy there. I have no idea what I'm going to do in here. I don't even have to pee. How are you this evening? Julie attempted to strike up a conversation with the attendant. The little woman simply nodded. She was sitting in a chair next to the bank of sinks with a stack of towels and a small dish that was obviously meant for tips. Well, have a nice evening. Julie started to leave the room, and the little woman stood up, reaching out with a towel in her hand. Julie didn't use the toilet or even the sink. Her hands weren't wet and didn't see a need for a towel and therefore a tip. Towel, missus? No, thank you. No towel, missus? She shoved the towel closer. Shit. Guess I'll have to wash my hands, take the towel, and tip the lady. I guess this is her living. Julie threw her purse over her shoulder, leaned over the sink and rinsed her hands, and graciously reached out for the towel. Thank you. She dried her hands, reached in her purse, and pulled out a couple of singles and put them on the tip plate. Gracias, missus. The little woman glanced over at the dish, and while she was thanking Julie, the expression on her face revealed another feeling. Julie had a habit of assuming she knew what other people were thinking, and in her typical self-deprecating way, she told herself that even the ladies' room attendant didn't care much for her. Geez, lady, I didn't even need to use the restroom. I only rinsed my damn hands to appease your begging for a damn tip. What, wasn't $2 for doing nothing enough for you? Just because I'm eating at Joe's doesn't mean I'm made of money. Julie pushed open the door, right into Debbie. Oh, I'm sorry. No worries. I came to get you. Our table is ready. Debbie motioned for Julie to follow her. That was quick. Julie didn't look at her watch. She only noticed that she was still holding the towel. Why doesn't Joe's use paper towels like everyone else? Shit. Hold on, Debbie. I have to drop this back in the ladies' room. Hurry up, because I didn't exactly see where they went when they were seated, although we'll probably hear Rachel anyway. Debbie held the door. Are you okay? You left the table kind of suddenly. Julie took the weight of the door from Debbie and made something up. I felt like my hands were dirty after riding in that Uber, and since I'm probably going to order stone crabs, I know I'll be using my hands to eat. Yeah, that sounds good. I'm not a germaphobe or anything, but it is still the tail end of flu season, and you never know, you know? Debbie shrugged. I guess. Her eyes darted from right to left, looking for Rachel's bright magenta blouse and Linda's cream one, figuring that those two together would stand out. She spotted the lady Rachel had the words with in the bar first. You scan to the right and I'll look left. Why don't we just ask the desk where they seated our party? Now you made me feel dumb. Debbie's smile morphed into a mock pout. However, Julie didn't know that she was kidding. I'm so sorry. I just know the way they run this place. God, girl, I was kidding. You are certainly the sensitive one. She took Julie by the arm and pulled her along. I see them. Before we sit down, you better lighten up. Quit taking yourself so damn seriously. Got it? Who the fuck are you? I don't do that. I'm just trying to fit in. Julie smiled uncomfortably. I'm sorry. And quit saying you're sorry all the time. The two women approached the table. Again, they were seated in the corner, much to Julie's pleasure. The two remaining seats would have her back to the rest of the tables in the large dining room. We thought you must have fallen in. We brought your drink. Rachel wriggled around in her seat. This menu is gargantuan. She scanned it all over and decided to go with whatever everyone else wanted to order. Julie, why don't you order for us? Nobody has allergies or aversions. We just want the best Joe's Stone Crab restaurant experience we can have, and you seem to have all the answers. Oy, you're putting a lot of pressure on me. What if you don't like it? Julie was tentative. I mean, this is your big weekend, isn't it? Debbie elbowed her. Remember what I just told you. Now, when the waiter comes, you do the ordering for all of us, okay? And don't forget the game. Debbie picked up her drink. How is everyone doing on the third round? I'm almost ready, Linda volunteered. Me too, said Beth. Okay, so we'll order another round when we order dinner. Debbie seemed to have taken over Linda's role as the secretary of the group. Then another during dinner, and then maybe an aperitif with dessert. Does that sound good? That's an awful lot of drinking, isn't it? Julie wasn't used to doing this much drinking away from home. She did plenty of heavy drinking in the afternoons when she was home alone and didn't have to drive anywhere. Oh, right, Uber. They actually have a huge selection of after-dinner drinks here, and they also have amazing coffee drinks if you like them. That's more like it, Julie. Linda closed her menu. Now, let's plan tomorrow before we get too hammered. Linda, who usually was overly concerned about her alcohol intake, seemed to be leading the way into this oblivion the women were headed. I like the idea of that Vizcaya place in the morning and then maybe the Keys in the afternoon. Sounds good to me, added Beth. Beth was agreeable to everything everyone said. Julie was suspicious of people like that. It reminded her of herself. If I just go along with things, nobody will question my choices or ask me what I'm thinking about. That won't work. If you want to go to Key West, you need to give it an entire day and into night, or even plan on staying overnight. It's about a 4-hour drive from here. Even if you leave really, really early and get there for lunch, if you don't stay for the sunset, you've missed the best part. And then you still have a 4-hour drive ahead to come back. She thought for a moment. I don't know about you, but for me, that's a terribly long day. You could do a morning trip to Everglades National Park, have lunch in Coconut Grove, and then visit Vizcaya in the afternoon. Then you could come back to the hotel to freshen up before you go to dinner. Julie felt quite satisfied that she had planned the perfect day. This way, I won't have to go. They'll leave early enough so as not to find anything out about me, and by the time they get back, the hubbub will have quieted down. That sounds terrific, and you, my dear, will be our tour guide. Rachel made this pronouncement as if there was no discussion to follow, no arguing with her. I may not be able to. I may have some work to get done. Julie had to come up with some way out of it. There was that lie again, and now I'm going to have to embellish it for sure. Really? Hey, I never did find out what it is that you do. Linda seemed genuinely disappointed, as did the other girls. Oh, that's right. I was the one who met her at the pool. Julie is a writer of sorts. Wait, you never told me what kind of writer. Rachel realized, too, that she knew very little about their new companion. I think you said something about an assignment for what, a newspaper? Julie had to think fast. She had no idea what these women knew about the local news. They only knew that her first name was Julie. I have to start making up a whole life here. This should be relatively easy. I won't see them again, for one, and two, I'm good at making up stories. I always do it when I travel alone, just for the fun of it. I've been everything from a surgeon to an elementary school teacher. I've been a dope dealer and a piano tuner, so, what do I write? It's not very exciting. I'm a tech writer for an auto parts manufacturer. I write user manuals and parts replacement manuals. I also update instruction manuals for those DIY folks out there. The funny part is that I personally know nothing about cars. Julie laughed. It's the kind of work I can do from home or from poolside at the hotel. My husband is away on business, and we had this free weekend he won in an auction, so I used it. That's why I'm here. Yawn. Rachel was crestfallen. I thought you were going to tell us you wrote sexy hot novels, the kind we read alone, you know? Sorry to disappoint. That should take care of that. At that moment, a young lady appeared at the table. Good evening and welcome to Joe's. She looked too young to serve drinks and too small to carry some of the large trays the women had seen carried past their table. Are you ready to order? Would you like another round of drinks while you decide? Julie thought for a second and then replied, Crabs, glorious crabs, we're ready to order. Isn't that from Oliver? But it's food, glorious food, isn't it? The waitress corrected her. No point, yelled Rachel. Yes, why, yes, it is. We'll all start with the chopped salad. Can you bring us like 3 different salad dressings on the side? The server nodded as she wrote down the first part of their order. We'd also like to have 5 orders of the select stone crabs, and we'll do 1 order each of hash browns, grilled tomatoes, and the spinach. Julie glanced nervously around the table. The women were mesmerized, as if dreaming about the food about to be served to them. Feeling confident that she had placed a good order, she quickly added, This is all we'll have tonight, unless dessert is really right. That's all. That's all. Okay, you got it. The server flipped her pad shut and walked away. She looked at you like you were nuts, but that was a good one. She's too young to know that song, that's all. Rachel was laughing out loud. I only recognized it because my dad was really into Sinatra. Point for you, Julie. Oh, I forgot to order the drinks. Julie slapped the side of her head with her palm. Linda picked up on it this time. Girl, you need to stop being so hard on yourself. It's not the end of the world. We'll get the server back here. A basket of rolls and bread and a plate of butter was slipped in front of them so quickly that they couldn't get the young man's attention. Linda attempted to flag down the next employee that raced by. They are on roller skates, no? Julie glanced down at her watch. Shit, it's after 9 already. We're not going to get back to the hotel until midnight. Oh, well, tonight, tomorrow morning, what's the difference? So when will you know? Asked Debbie. Know what? Julie seemed distracted. If you have to work or if you have an assignment. Oh, that. I won't know until about 9 tomorrow morning, and you'll have to leave earlier than that. We can flip-flop the day and wait, Linda offered. I couldn't ask you to do that. You hardly know me. Ah, but we'll get to know you, won't we? Rachel spoke with a sinister tone, but a silly grin on her face. Once we have you, we'll never let you go, she added. They all started wringing their hands and cackling like witches over a cauldron. You people are weird. Or maybe it's me. No, it's you. I just really want to go back to the hotel and be alone. Okay, whatever. Just give me your room numbers or something, and I'll let you know by 9. I guess one more day isn't going to hurt. I must figure out when I can shake these broads, though. They're actually harmless, but they're really getting in my way.